Heroes Like Us is a series intended at sharing comic book characters from various backgrounds and identities. We won't always get everything right, so feel free to make amendments and corrections in the comments. They're always appreciated. What's not appreciated, however, is any form of hate speech or intolerance, so comments of that nature will be immediately deleted and those users blocked from this channel. This is a place of education and celebration. Welcome to Heroes Like Us, our series where we take a look at a certain identity and then we talk about comic book characters that have that identity. Today we are doing a highly requested one, and this is Italian, so we're covering Italian comic book characters. We're going to start with one of the oldies but goodies, Giovanni Zatanna from DC Comics. Zatanna was a stage magician. So he was kind of a performer, and then he realized that he could tap into actual magic. The way he did this was by reciting spells backwards. He never really became a huge superhero, but he helped out when needed. He became a friend of Thomas Wayne, but Thomas Wayne and his wife were killed, and Giovanni Zatanna took this very personally, kind of became a recluse, but this is a problem because he had a daughter, Zatanna. So let's talk for a second about Zatanna. Zatanna was powerful just like her father was, that she's able to also recite these spells backwards. She's incredibly powerful. She often helped the Justice League. She served as a core member on what's called the Justice League Dark, which handles the magical and supernatural threats that the Justice League can't handle. So she has done some incredibly powerful things, but this is limited by her ability to focus and her ability to memorize these spells that she's doing. So we don't see her do huge things often, but she's around when she needs to. She also will do some of the more dubious things like wipe someone's mind, erase their past. You know, she'll do things to criminals to make sure that they don't ever do them again. Now, eventually her father was killed, and he begged of her, please destroy my soul, because he was worried about all of these villains and demons that he had kind of pushed back into the nether realms or whatever. He was worried about them tormenting him for eternity. So Zatanna basically destroyed his soul so that he would not be tortured forever. She still is a mainstream superhero. She's helping out whenever she can. She's still very, very active. Up next, let's talk about Strong Guy from Marvel Comics, Guido Carosella. Guido, his mutant ability is basically to absorb physical impact into his body. And so this manifested when he was hit by, I think it was like a bus or a car, something hit him and it made his body distort. And he can use this as strength back out. If he doesn't use it, his body will stay that way, which is unfortunately, I think, what happened to him. So now when he fights incredibly strong characters like the Hulk, he can kind of absorb this impact and use it back out. If he doesn't, it will continue to distort his body. He went through some tough times because he was teased for this abnormality. He ended up joining a team called X Factor. He didn't click with a lot of people. He had a lot of failed romances. He went down a very dark path. One of the most recent stories we've seen with Strong Guy, he actually took up a position under Mephisto, which is kind of this demonic supervillain, and he became what's called a Hell Lord. I think that's the last time we saw Guido. I think someone challenged his throne. I think like Red Hulk. Someone challenged him to that throne, but I think that's the last time we saw Strong Guy. Up next from DC Comics, we've got a character called Huntress, Helena Bertinelli. Huntress is a vigilante who, when she was a child, saw her whole family killed by the mob because they were into some dark stuff. So she grew up and she became a vigilante and said, I'm going to stop those people. And she is morally comfortable doing whatever it takes. And so she's one of the vigilantes that will kill the bad guys when other people won't. So she does fight for good often. She's on a team called the Birds of Prey, but her morals sometimes create tension with the other members, that she wants to go kind of the black and white route where others won't. She often fights with her trademark crossbow. She has a staff. I do want to apologize. There's another version of Huntress, and some of these pictures might be switched because this other Huntress looks nearly identical. There is an alternate reality in which Batman and Catwoman have a child who grows up to become a vigilante known as Huntress. So some of the pictures might be of that character, so I apologize. Huntress also appeared on the Arrow television show played by Jessica DeGao. Up next and lastly for this video from Marvel Comics, we've got Madame Masque. Now I pronounce it Madame Masque, but I think the word is Madame, so is it Madame Masque? I say Madame. So Whitney Frost was born in Rome to a evil crime boss named Count Nefaria. He didn't want his daughter to kind of grow up this way, so he sent her away. But when she became an adult, he came back to her and he said, I want you to now take charge of this mob called the Magia. So she took over. She became this crime boss, but she was exposed to this explosion and it kind of scarred her face. And so she now wears this gold mask that is synonymous with her as a character. She doesn't really have any superpowers, but she uses technology and guns and her intelligence to fight the Avengers, and specifically she often crosses paths with Iron Man specifically. A version of Madame Masque showed up on the TV show Agent Carter, where she was scarred by this kind of supernatural. There was like this dark energy that kind of was like breaking her skin. So it was not the same way. She was not a crime boss. It was kind of a spin on the character, and she was played by Wynn Everett. So that is it for this video. If you can think of other Italian comic book characters, let me know in the comments. And when we do a part 2, I will make sure to include them. Thanks for watching Heroes Like Us. We'll see you next time.